Number one technique for power, if you want to make someone go nuts, get into their heads and make them go so crazy around you. Or, in other words, if you want to be your most confident, powerful self around toxic people who are trying to sabotage you, this is what you're gonna do. I own a business and I'm constantly surrounded by very powerful CEOs, brand owners, whatever. And there's like a lot of levels to this where you are confronted with people who are trying to put their power dynamics onto you, or when we're talking about, for example, a narcissist.
What?
Alright, I'm kind of confused here. Are you trying to say that the super powerful CEOs that you pretend to associate with are also the same toxic, malignant narcissists that you're constantly finding yourself dating? That really doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing about these so-called psychology experts, is that they turn around and try to make everything about taking back power. But lady, how did you lose the power to begin with? Or better yet, what in the hell is the power? Are you actually going to be able to define that? Well, of course you're not going to be able to, because that would require work, and you're too busy pretending to imagine that you associate with super powerful CEOs. And of course, let's not forget about the narcissist, because as we all know, every single person on the face of the planet is a toxic, malignant narcissist, even though these psychology experts will never define the phrase narcissist either. They just use it to describe people they don't like, or people they're not allowed to walk all over, so it really makes no sense either way.
When you are in this extremely uncomfortable position where you are dealing with either a narcissist or someone is trying to put their power dynamics onto you, say at work, there's two things that they expect you to do. One is they expect you to overreact and basically have an extremely dramatic emotional reaction to their behavior, which puts them into power, or they are used to you starting to yap and filling in the gaps and getting super nervous and showing that you're sweating. So what you're going to do instead is not react. You don't react to that behavior.
That does not make sense.
Okay, woman, you're starting to go off in two completely separate directions here, and it's not helping your case at all. First, you're talking about dealing with super powerful CEOs and business negotiations, and then you start talking about dealing with toxic narcissists in relationships, and the two really don't go together. Now, I know you're slow, but try to keep up with me here. Now, if you're talking about a business negotiation, yes, of course there is a power dynamic because you got two people who want to try to get the best deal possible, but what that person is not going to do is to try to make you overreact emotionally because, well, that's just unprofessional and it's going to damage his reputation. Now, if we're talking about a relationship, yeah, there are some douchers out there who will pull that kind of crap, but at the same time, if you're finding yourself attracted to those guys, then maybe, just maybe, you should look in the mirror and try to find out why that is. Instead of trying to figure out all of these quote-unquote psychology hacks, maybe do some work on yourself. You know, that kind of crap you're always telling us to do.
You set boundaries. If there's a heated argument, you're gonna go out, come back later, the next day, whatever, when the situation is calm, and you're going to be non-reactive and utterly logical. You're going to set your boundaries very kindly, very softly and gently. Again, no emotional reaction, and that is going to get you back into power.
Oh, come on! You gotta love it when a modern woman actually comes out with a nugget of good advice but completely botches it in the execution. I mean, woman, what you're talking about isn't some type of massive power dynamic shift. This is known as cooler heads prevailing. And this has been a form of conflict resolution that dudes have been using for literally thousands of years. What you're talking about is taking the emotion from both parties off the table so you can discuss things in a calm and collected manner. The only difference is when a dude does it, it's because he's trying to avoid conflict and he's trying to manipulate you, but when you do it, it is a power move to take back whatever power you claim to have lost, while also trying to drive the man crazy, which really makes no sense because you're trying to resolve a conflict, but all you're trying to do is be petty and emotionally manipulate the man just so you can feel good about yourself. Lady, you really don't make any sense at all, and that's kind of terrifying considering that you're trying to peddle psychology hacks.
Good, but I would say it's horrible yet terrible. Ugly yet disgusting. You suck.
Be happy he didn't choose you. He chose the girl that strokes his ego the most, the girl who gentle parents him, the girl who talks to him like he's a child. You know, that's not your problem. You want to know why? Because he's insecure. He's insecure and he doesn't feel man enough. So that's why he needs someone to talk to him nicely. You know, like, These men are also most likely to cheat, insecure men, because they have to seek external validation from other women and other men because they can't find that validation within themselves, you know? And that's not your problem.
That's not my problem. It's yours.
All right, woman. Well, considering your incredibly disrespectful language, then I think we can safely surmise that if a guy is cheating on you, it's because you are rampantly disrespecting him. Now, what you're calling insecure is a man who just wants to be treated with some respect. And so, yeah, if a guy is not getting that respect from you, he's going to be getting it from somewhere else. And your response to this is to lash out and to call him insecure, when in reality, he just wants to be treated with a little bit of kindness. And you take that as him needing a mother or him needing to be babied, which just goes to show that you do not have a kind bone in your body. So what exactly were you expecting? This guy just wanted some kindness and you couldn't even bring yourself to provide the bare minimum of that. So this guy went ahead and found himself a girl who would, and so that's why he dumped your worthless ass. It isn't rocket surgery, woman. You went ahead and disrespected this man, so he found somebody who wouldn't. And that is completely 100% your problem.
That is not your problem. I've had a lot of men tell me I don't call them enough, I don't text them enough, I don't make them feel needed, I'm too independent. Like, what does that mean? Like, you're not needed. You're not needed in my life. You're not a necessity. I choose to have you in my life. If you're not in my life, it's because I choose not to have you in my life. You know, so just be happy. You're not stuck with a man child. You don't have to talk to a man like he's freaking 5 years old. And it's her problem now, not yours.
Man, that's just mean. That's mean, man.
Okay, so what I'm understanding here is that this man made it perfectly clear that he just wanted some kindness and respect from you, just to check in to see how he was doing. Maybe give him a compliment every once in a while, and your response to this was to call him a man-child and to say that you don't need him. Well, newsflash, sister, men like to feel wanted in their relationships. They want to feel needed, and your response to this was to pretty much insult him. So what in the hell did you expect was going to happen? This man decided that he was no longer wanting you in his life, so he made the choice to kick your ass to the curb where, frankly, it clearly belongs. But the best part of all of this is that the same stuff that this guy is asking of you, you will straight up demand of the next guy that enters into your life. That's because you want all of the benefits without putting in any of the work to make a relationship last. So, once again, woman, that is your freaking problem, and it's a problem that you created for yourself.
You blew it. Capiche?
Hey bitch, I'm done being nice. You're literally somebody's dream girl. Okay, you're a lot of men's dream girl and you're sitting here waiting for this. Fuck. You're with this asshole. Okay, who acts like he doesn't care if you live or die. Literally. Literally, like, what the fuck are we doing? Why? Why? Genuinely, why? Because you know that you are somebody's dream girl, right? Yes or no? You are. Okay, and why wouldn't you be? You're incredible. Okay, you're such a good partner.
Jesus, she is terrifying.
Oh, that answer's easy there, Madam Psycho. The reason why you are still with this quote-unquote a-hole is because the men that would consider you to be his dream girl are the very same types of men that you don't respect. That's just because they're average, much like you. Now, you claim to be this great and wonderful person, and yet you decide to shack up with the a-hole because you find him hot, and that is who you want to spend your life with. You couldn't care less about the guys who would treat you with respect because they are boring, and you live a life that is so boring that you need to create needless drama in order to feel something. And meanwhile, you're getting furious and flying off the handle in front of a camera and posting it onto TikTok, and so those guys who would consider you to be their dream girl are gonna see this and realize that you're a freaking lunatic. And if you're a lunatic, those guys are gonna think twice before wanting to get with you. So yeah, by doing this, you are becoming fewer and fewer dream girls to the men out there. So nicely done, you freaking idiot.
But we're wasting all of our time on this fuck. Why? Give me one good reason. One. Just give me one. That would suffice. Oh, you can't come up with one? Literally. You're just wasting your time. Miserable. Okay, on a man, he is literally just a man. Barely. when there are men out there that would die to be with you. Meanwhile, this one literally doesn't care if you live or die. Okay, enough.
Idiots! It's simple!
Once again, woman, the answer couldn't be more simple. The reason why you're still with this guy is because of the plot. You like to think that your life is just one gigantic romantic dramedy, and this guy is your true love, but he just can't see it yet. So you need to go through all the trials and tribulations, and you need to torture yourself in an effort to change him so he can be both the physical and the psychological man that you want. Typically, this just revolves around physical attraction. This guy has the build that you want, he has the head of hair, maybe the sound of his voice, the car, the height, pretty much all the superficial crap. That is why you stay with him. Meanwhile, the good guys who would literally die to be with you, you're bored with them, so you'll never give them the time of day because they're just not as hot as the guy that you got right now. But what I personally find funny is that I was able to answer this question of yours without knowing you within 5 seconds, and you've wasted 15 years of your life and you still haven't figured it out. But it's really not all that surprising because you're too focused on the plot after all. Just want to take a moment to shine some recognition on the fine members of the Bounty Board over on Patreon for their continued support of my work as I get content out to you guys every single day. So to the fine members of the Bounty Board, I salute you. All hail! And if you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the Bounty Board over on Patreon, where $5 a month gets you access to exclusive content you're not going to find on YouTube. And of course, you can always support the channel by liking this video, sharing, leaving comments, and if you're enjoying my particular brand of comedy, then I hope I've earned your subscription today.
Matriarchy is already on its way, it's well on its way, and it's happening organically. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Matriarchy's rise is in a direct inverse relationship with marriage. Damn near every man out there in the world who is affecting the shape of the world right now, whether through art or politics or business, almost every single one of them, if not every single one of them, is doing so largely because of the help of a woman. A woman who not only takes care of the domestic labor and the mental load of their life, but who is also their life coach, who gives them advice on strategy.
Wrong! Okay, well, you clearly don't know what you're talking about, which is unsurprising. You're full of yourself and you refuse to inform yourself with actual information and just replace it with your fifi, so that's to be expected. So you do realize that most modern housewives are oftentimes complaining that the husbands are not doing enough in terms of that pesky domestic labor, and lest we forget the mental load, the ultimate argument used against men because you're forced to think every once in a while. And this concept that behind every successful man is a woman is nothing short of offensive. Now, to all of the wives out there who fully supported their husbands during the trials and tribulations of becoming successful, then I salute you. More power to you. But we don't see that in today's society very often. All we see are women who marry men and then complain that they're not successful 5 minutes after starting their business. Then they divorce them and then claim that once he becomes successful that it was all because of her because she fed him a sandwich once. Sorry, woman. That dog ain't gonna hunt here.
Who serves as this buffer between their unhealed selves and the rest of the world. She's a container for all of his unhealed worst bits. She carries all of his emotional baggage so the rest of the world gets to see him just move with grace and lightness. And as the institution of marriage recedes as a cultural force, with it, so will the dominance of men. Women are already outperforming men. They're graduating from schools in higher numbers. More single women own their homes than single men. We make life significantly harder for girls and women while we coddle boys every step of the way of their childhood.
Say, what now?
Since when were boys coddled? Seriously, I would love to hear an example of how boys are coddled. You're the expert in everything. You're the one that keeps saying that women are better because they were stupid enough to drop 120 G's on a piece of paper for gender studies. So please, enlighten me. How do boys get coddled in childhood? Because if anything, boys are pretty much told that they need to grow up to be men as soon as humanly freaking possible. Meanwhile, you're born and you're told that you're a princess, that you're special, that you're strong, and that you're empowered. But you're also a victim, and that you're also oppressed. You claim that men are these stupid, oafish idiots, but they're also the ones that are domineering you and keeping you from being successful. And you show that you're better than men because you have a credit card, you bought a house with a subprime mortgage, and you spend way too much money on your college degree. Meanwhile, men are working their asses off, and you pretty much say that anything a man does doesn't count because he doesn't have a freaking vagina.
And so when they get to adulthood, she has a lot more resilience and strength to offer because she's had to build that up. Then the way that this patriarchal society corrects for that is it says, well, you two have to live together. And she has to give you all of her gains. All of the ways that she has become extraordinary in this world, she has to pour into you so that you may rise in the world, so that you may leave your mark, so that you may affect the cultural conversation of who we are, while she doesn't. And the more women who opt out of this, the fewer men will rise. And in their place, she will rise with all of the talents and skills that she has acquired.
Hang on just a second there, lady. Aren't modern women already doing that? They're living alone and they're bragging about every single minor achievement as if it's worthy of a freaking medal. You file for an LLC? Well, that's worthy of praise. You freaking pay your credit card bill on time? Well, that is just you fighting the patriarchy. Oh, you're gainfully employed? Well, I got a newsflash for you, sister. So is everyone else, and nobody gives a crap. It is absolutely hysterical how the bar for a modern woman's success is so low that having her own house and paying her own bills is somehow worthy of songs of freaking praise. Meanwhile, you expect men to do everything else and to do it better than you in order for you to consider him barely worthy of a relationship with you, and you are completely oblivious to the fact that men were not put on this earth to please you or to impress you. Men were put on this earth to freaking work. We do it a hell of a lot better than you, and we don't feel the need to be constantly rewarded for the crap that we do on a daily basis.
Hers will become the voice shaping the world through politics, through business, through art. We're at the beginning stages of this right now, which is why so many men are being dragged here, kicking and screaming. There will come a time when more and more of them start to just ask the question, what if their leadership is better? What if it's actually a better world for me? But even if they don't, they will not be able to stop it because they have not been raising generations of boys to have the capacity to live the full adult experience. They have been raising them to be dependent upon women. And when they don't have a woman to be dependent on, they're not going to succeed. All we have to do is kill marriage. And with it, patriarchy will die.
That's stupid! You're stupid! Stop being stupid!
So I guess every single woman that's currently in politics and in positions of power are just somehow random flukes. I mean, lady, we have actually seen the detrimental effects of women in terms of business, entertainment, and especially politics. Just take a look at freaking Star Wars or Bud Light or the current state of the US freaking government. Every single time a woman gets into a position of power, it is celebrated as if the most crowning achievement in the history of humans, and it is celebrated the whole time she is managing that company into the freaking ground. But oddly enough, I will agree with you 1% on one thing. I do believe that the bureaucratic institution of marriage needs to be thrown out of the freaking window. But it's not because of the matriarchy. It's because modern women love to abuse divorce laws to completely fleece their husbands of everything they've ever built. And I think we need to get rid of that post-haste. But it's not like it really matters because men are giving you every single thing that you want, sister. They are going to leave you alone because any self-respecting man is going to puke after smelling you in a room after 5 freaking minutes. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you once again for checking out the new video, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.